My name is Wendell Child. I'm an Assistant Council Commissioner in charge of Commissioner Tools. So today we're going to talk about the benefit of contacting units. And to demonstrate the significance of what we're going to talk about, a story is told of a cat and a mouse. A family was eating dinner and got called away quickly and didn't clear the table of the plates and the leftovers from dinner. And a mouse came out and thought, aha, there's my meal for the night. I'll climb up on the table and start to enjoy a beautiful meal. Well, the mouse had been up on the table for a couple of minutes, and all of a sudden in came the cat. And as you might imagine, there was a skirmish that occurred. The mouse quickly ran down as fast as he could, headed for his hole in the wall, and the cat was right on his tail, trying to catch him so the cat could have his meal. Well, the mouse won, made it into the hole, and was sitting there breathing deeply because of his exercise to run to get out of the way of the cat, when all of a sudden he heard, whoa, 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 whoa. And then he heard, meow, meow. And he thought, aha, the dog came to my rescue. I'm free to come out and finish eating my meal. And so he quickly ran out of his hole and right into the hands of the cat. And the cat had the mouse in his paw and opened one finger, and the mouse said, I thought the dog had chased you away. And the cat said to him, well, that's the advantage of speaking two languages. So today I hope that I can speak a language that will explain to you the significance and importance of contacting units. The objectives from the course today are, one, to describe how the concept of a commissioner is demonstrated in frequent unit contacts. And I highlight the word frequent because this isn't occasional. This isn't once in a blue moon. You need to become a frequent participant, visitor rather, in visiting the units that you're assigned as a commissioner. Another objective is to identify the methods to demonstrate good commissioner service as we serve as a coach and mentor and representative of the BSA. We also should explain the importance of using commissioner tools to record unit contacts. We'll talk about commissioner tools. And then we'll demonstrate how contacts can improve the performance of a scout unit and benefit the scouts that are in that unit. So as we heard Annalise speak this morning, here are the areas that a commissioner is responsible for and should focus on. One, supporting unit growth and retention through Journey to Excellence. Number two is contacting units, which we'll talk about. Documenting the strengths, their needs, and the unit service plan. Number three is linking unit needs to district resources. 4, timely charter renewal. And 5 is delivering effective roundtables. Our focus today is only going to be on contacting units in this course. So delivering effective roundtables can provide program ideas and timely communication to develop relationships with all the scout units. So if one of the focuses of this course is contacting units and capturing their strengths and needs and commissioner tools, how do we do it? Well, I want to show you something for just a minute. This is a chart that shows how unit commissioners today have been contacting units. And unfortunately, it's not a pretty picture. you can see that to date, the total through the end of July, there have been only 114 contacts made to the 409 units that we've got. So something is breaking down in the process of a unit commissioner contacting the units. These are the districts in our council, and you can see some districts don't have any contacts registered. That means there's been nothing entered in commissioner tools. It doesn't necessarily mean there wasn't a contact made, but nothing has been loaded in commissioner tools. And as we go through today, you'll realize commissioner tools is that teamwork function that Annalise talked about. If unit commissioners don't visit, don't record their contacts, other commissioners can't see the strengths and weaknesses of a given unit. So the BSA has defined a contact as a meaningful exchange. You heard Annalise talk about meaningful exchange. A meaningful exchange between a commissioner and one or more leaders of the actual unit. So unit contacts are among a commissioner's most basic tasks. They support really the mission of unit service, and that is to help units better serve more youth through scouting. So who makes unit contacts? Well, as you heard in Annalise's presentation, any commissioner really can make a unit contact. An administrative commissioner can do it. A roundtable commissioner can do a unit contact. A unit commissioner, of course, should be doing unit contacts. And then a scout professional. All of them can do unit contacts. But primarily, the unit commissioner is the one with the responsibility to make a unit contact. So when are unit contacts made? Well, they're made when we visit a unit meeting. They're made when we visit a committee meeting. So if you're a unit commissioner, you should be attending occasionally a unit committee meeting and see how the committee is operating. You need to visit a unit activity. You can do a unit contact individually. You can do a unit contact over the phone. You can do an email exchange or a text message. Any of these can be used as a method by which we contact the units and talk about how the unit is progressing. For example, Elwood, let me ask you a question. You can unmute yourself so you can reply. Let's say I was a unit commissioner to your troop, and I called you on the phone, and I asked you, how are the scouts in your troop advancing? Now, what would be your response to me if you were a unit leader?
My response would be to list you the names of boys who had increased in rank, passed from one rank to another. It would list the newest Eagle Scout that the troop has. Would also list parents who are involved in the troop committee and helping with functions of the troop. Any activity that's going on, I'd report that to you and let you know that the troop is very viable and functioning well.
Excellent response. Thank you very much. That is a meaningful contact. Even though it occurred over the phone, Elwood and I just talked about how the unit is progressing in their rank advancements. That's an example of a meaningful contact. Did it take very long? Didn't take long at all. Did it give me valuable information? Yes. Can I load that information in now as a unit contact? Absolutely, because it was meaningful. So those are the methods by which we can do unit contacts. There are 7 ways that we make a meaningful contact. So the frequency, how often should I be doing a meaningful contact? Well, you need to do a contact as often as is needed. They recommend at least monthly. So as a unit commissioner, at least monthly, you should be visiting the unit. There should be a minimum of 6 per year as required by the JTE objectives. You could do 5 simplified assessments and 1 detailed assessment. Now you're going to say, what's a simplified assessment and a detailed assessment? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But 1 detail is required every 6 months in order to count any of the simplified assessments that you do. So we need to prioritize the units that we make contacts with. If you're a commissioner and you've got 3 units and you've got to visit the unit once a month, it doesn't give you much time to do anything else. So you prioritize what contacts need to be done first and how frequent they need to be done. Again, I'll show you the council performance. You can see that we haven't had commissioners going out to make meaningful contacts. So some basic ground rules for making contacts: call in advance, let the unit leader know you're coming, visit the entire meeting. You shouldn't participate in the meeting, but be an observer. You should go in full and proper uniform. Some do's and don'ts. Success supporting a unit depends upon the relationship that you make with the unit's leader. I don't know how many of you have ever been through an IRS audit, but you quiver in your boots when it happens. That's not what we're doing here. What we're doing is trying to establish a relationship with the unit leaders and help them. So we're not trying to judge them or be critical, but we want them to trust in the relationship and the comments that a unit commissioner is leaving with them. So what are some things people value in a relationship? Steve Winterton, unmute yourself and tell me, what do you value in a relationship? You can hit the space bar, Steve, and it will. Maybe I'm not going to be able to get Steve to do it. Judy Loveland, tell me, what do you value in a relationship?
Honesty.
Very good, Judy. Thank you. That's a great characteristic. You want to know if somebody's telling you is truthful.
This is Steve Winterton. Can you hear me?
I can now. Go ahead, Steve.
Friendship. You want
Friendship.
somebody that's a friend.
You don't want an enemy coming in and evaluating your meeting, do you? Not at all. So here are the 10 values that the Scout National has determined are important in a relationship. Appreciate a person's worth, to be positive, to be empathetic, to be reliable, to communicate openly and freely, to have some understanding, to listen, to be trustworthy, willing to find a common ground, and to find some way to associate as a people person. They've also done an analysis on what they call a relationship pyramid. If you go to a Scout meeting and you don't know the Scoutmaster's name, what does that say to the Scoutmaster about the relationship you're trying to build? Doesn't say much. It says you're only checking the box and doing something. You don't really care about the individual as a leader. But you have a little more credibility when you call a person by name, just like I'm calling Dwayne Soberg right now by name. Wayne, it makes a difference when I call you by your first name, does it not?
Yes, it does. It makes a lot of difference.
So people who like me is the next criteria. People who are friendly with me, meaning you see a scout leader in the store and you call him by his first name. How are scouts doing? You can talk to him and interface with him. People who respect me. And the top tier is people who value a relationship with me. So you get a scout leader who values the comments that are made in a contact. It makes a big difference for a scout leader. So my question to all of us as unit commissioners, where are we? Where are you in this pyramid of a relationship? So after making contact with your units, what do you do with the information you've acquired? This is the key question and one that sometimes we forget. So we enter a contact report in Commissioner Tools to enable effective unit service. We're going to talk about what that effective unit service means. Performance improves when performance is measured and feedback given. All of us have been to a basketball game or watched a basketball game, and we all want to know what the score is. Well, the feedback is given by the score each and every game we go to. When a team, and that's what we're talking about here in scouting, can measure the performance and positive feedback given, we all tend to want to improve. We want to make it better. And so your responsibility is to give feedback in a positive manner to a scout unit, to a scout leader, to help them improve the performance of the unit itself. So here are two places to get access to Commissioner Tools. You heard this from Annalise this morning on the web at my.scouting.org or an app on your phone at My Scouting. Access on either the phone or the web requires a commissioner to be registered as a commissioner, not as a committee member. You may be a committee member, but just because you're a committee member doesn't give you access to Commissioner Tools. I get a lot of phone calls saying, I still can't get in. Well, the problem is you haven't filled out the paperwork to indicate you're a commissioner. So you can go to my.scouting.org, put in your password and your sign on, and if it doesn't allow you to get in, it tells me that you're not registered as a commissioner. So yeah, it means you have to fill out two pieces of paper. You're a committee member for the unit and you're a commissioner for the district that you're involved in. The app can be downloaded from the App Store, and both are very easy to use to record a contact. So let's walk through this. If I sign in on the web to my.scouting.org, this is the landing page that will come up. It may not have on the left the exact same things because it changes on a weekly basis. But on the right, it will have the Learning Center. And up in the left-hand corner, you will see the menu. That's the menu for Commissioner Tools. So you select that menu, and then it will take you to one of four options: Commissioner Tools, Finance Tool, Member Manager, or Training Manager. All of these have functions for a commissioner, but for today, we're going to focus only on Commissioner Tools. So it will, when you select Commissioner Tools, it will then take you to the landing page for Commissioner Tools. And this is that landing page. Here's what it looks like. It may be for the district that you're in that you see, because I made the picture. I'm an assistant council commissioner, so I'm seeing the entire council. but it has the same basic format for you. On the left is the menu. That menu is constant. It comes up for everyone that signs into My.Scouting Commissioner Tools. Once you click on that menu to get here, next up in the right-hand corner, you can see select the org level. So that's the level that you want to look at. So if I select on that, it takes me now to the 3 areas in the council, central, north, and south areas. You'll notice to the right of that are the districts in the north area. So let's assume I'm in the Thurston Peak district. So what I'm going to do now is select the north area and then select the district. Now, if you're in the old Ephraim district, then of course you would select the old Ephraim district. But now I'm going to select this Thurston Peak district in my.scouting.org. And what it comes up with is a page that looks something like this. It shows the units in the Thurston Peak district. Notice to the left, there's a little round blue dot by the Mountain Road Church, Troop 519. I selected Troop 519 because I want to record a meaningful contact in Commissioner Tools. So once I've selected the unit that I want to do a contact report on, then I'm going to select up in the top line, add a new contact. You can see that pretty easily right there. That will take me to this page, and notice it's pre-populated some things, other things I have loaded in there. So I loaded in district event. I went to a district event to see how this unit was doing. It defaulted to my name. I've yet got to load in the date of the contact, and I loaded in the unit health. Now the unit health has 3 categories that you can select: changed, unchanged, or no change. Not difficult to understand. What that means now is from the last time you viewed the unit, how are they performing? Are they meeting the objectives of scouting or not? And in this case, I selected it's unchanged. Then after I've selected and input that, then I've got to select whether I want to do a simplified or a detailed assessment. And let's talk about what that means. A simplified or simple assessment, as they call it, should be done regularly or monthly. It takes about 8 minutes to input, and it's a simple evaluation of unit performance. It's a free-form observation of what took place at the unit meeting or event. A detailed assessment should be done every 6 months or when there's a leadership change in the unit. It has some specified categories: training and membership, finance, program, leadership and governance, unit priorities, and other details. Each of those categories has a series of questions that you, as the unit commissioner, would ask the key 3 when you do a detailed assessment. And then they would give you the response. The response is then evaluated, and I'll show you in just a minute the evaluation. Each category allows for a detailed review of performance. Once you've done all of these reviews for a detailed assessment, it allows you then to create a unit service plan. And if you will, that's a strategic plan for what the unit hopes to do for the year. So those are the 2 types of assessments and the information that is contained therein. So now let's talk about evaluation of the unit and its performance. This is a picture of my.scouting.org for a simple assessment. On a simple assessment, you see that I've selected 4. And I'm going to explain to you why I selected 4. But I could have selected 3.5. I could have selected 4.5. A unit's got to be walking on water to be a 5. A 3 is a very good score. Why I selected 4, I put in the notes. They're holding weekly scout meetings. Even though Corona's been going on, they found a way to hold meetings outdoors and with masks on. They also went to scout camp this summer. That was very unusual because there weren't many scout camps to go to this year. The scouts are advancing. They're holding a board of review and a Scoutmasters conference for every advancement. Another key thing that I saw as an advantage was the advancement chair holds a monthly merit badge class. I thought, you know, there aren't all scout troops that do that. So I thought their performance is above average. And service projects have been beneficial to the scouts. The fact that they're still holding weekly meetings, they've been to scout meeting, or to scout camp, I took that as being a little better than 3.5, and so that's why I scored them a 4. Here is the evaluation. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Once you load in comments, and those comments are important, I'll talk about those in a few minutes. Then you've got to hit save to save your input. I want to go into a little more detail on the scoring matrix. This is from National. So they've put this together to help us as commissioners know how to score a unit. So 5 is nearly an ideal situation. The service plan or program plan is created for the year, and they're doing very well. They're following the guidelines. A 4 is not quite as good, but they're getting closer to becoming an ideal unit. The plan's been completed, may not have been distributed. It may be in the Scoutmaster's head, but a plan's done. Medium is a 3, and that's average. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a typical unit. When you get down to score a unit on a 2 or a 1, there's a special reporting structure that flags that these units need some additional mentoring or coaching. And so either one of those, a 1 or a 2, you can see the criteria by which somebody assesses that. Very important to provide assistance when you have a unit that scores a 1 or a 2. So commissioners should add comments as well as a numerical score when they do the assessment. Assessments can be added for up to 60 days after the contact. So if I made an assessment yesterday or Thursday of a unit meeting, I have until 2 months, which would be November the 24th, to load that information in Commissioner Tools. You can't load it any further back than that, but you can go back 60 days. Changes to a saved report can be done for up to 3 days after the initial input. Before I leave the assessment scoring matrix, are there any questions? Joe, flag me if there are any questions that come up in the chat room.
Wendell, I have a question. Elwood Porter.
Go ahead,
How far
Elwood.
back can we look at the history of a unit?
The history goes back several years. So as long as it's been loaded, you can go back and see the history. In
Okay.
fact, I'm going to
Curious
show
as to whether
you.
there's a cutoff.
Yeah, I'll show you a screen that'll allow you to go back in and look at the history.
Okay, thank you.
Elwood, why you brought that up, I think it's a very key point. If I'm a roundtable commissioner, I want to go back in and look at the history. I want to see what units are struggling, what they're struggling with, and I want to address that in roundtable. If I'm a unit commissioner and I'm seeing that, a trend where other units are having problems with this particular issue or they've got a question on this topic, I want to be addressing that with my unit. So using the history is extremely valuable. And that's why we ask it to be done.
So we can only add in an assessment up to 60 days after the contact. After that, then it wouldn't allow us
Yeah, it won't allow you.
to put it in.
That's correct, Kent.
I had a situation with that where I was acting as a commissioner and somehow my registration didn't get in, so I didn't have access for a period. Once I got access again, I found out that some of those that I'd made several months back, even though I'd kept paper records, I couldn't put in electronically. So it's important to be registered and important to get them recorded quickly.
Good comment. Thank you very much.
I also want to add, Wendell, that if you have someone who is not tech savvy as a unit commissioner, they can hand that off to another unit commissioner that is, and they can go put them in for them. You don't, a commissioner does not specifically have to do it if they are not capable or not technologically able to do it. They can hand that off and somebody else can put it in for them under their name. The important part, again, is that they do get reported so that everybody can use them to better all their areas.
Thanks, Joe. You're right. All right, so now I've saved my assessment and now I've gone back into Commissioner Tools. And now notice you can see there's the simple assessment, the 4 that I scored. It gives me on the left the details. It occurred on July 30th. Tells me that I made it. Tells me the unit and their expiration date. Now you're going to ask about the detail in the bottom. That's from a previous detailed assessment. Now notice those are the categories that I showed you on the detailed assessment, and those are the scores that were given on a detailed assessment. So it allows a commissioner to see the health indicators of that unit for each of the categories on a detailed assessment. So the Commissioner Tools app is available on an Apple or an Android phone. And all you have to do is go to the App Store and look up My Scouting, download the app and open the app to get access to Commissioner Tools. So here's the landing page. When you first open the app, notice at the bottom, there's a little fleur-de-lis there. That fleur-de-lis is Commissioner Tools. Now the screen on the left shows the units that I'm assigned to as a unit commissioner. So not only am I an assistant council commissioner, but I'm a unit commissioner for 2 units in my district. So when I want to do an assessment using the app, and I'm going to click on the units assigned to me, and you see them on the right. I'll bring another view up. Troop 519 and Troop 544. In this case, I selected Troop 544, or excuse me, 519 to do a new contact on. You can see the new contact option. I'm going to go through this quickly so I get you some time for your questions on the end. And then it has the basic format that you do on my.scouting. You've got the event, who did it, the date, the unit help, and I can select those. You can see their drop downs, and then I can determine whether I want to do, again, a simple or a detailed, just like on the web portal. So here's the ability to score. In this case, I'm scoring them a 3.5. I put in the activity or comments in there. And then I'm going to hit next up in the right-hand corner. Once I hit next, it gives me the review screen. You can see the review. And then I hit submit, and I'm done. Now I pull up this page, and I'm just going to open this up. What or why do you think I pulled up this page in the Commissioner Tools presentation? Anyone want to answer? Unmute yourself and tell me. Why would you think I want to show this page?
Elwood Porter, I'd say see if there are any areas where you could help another commissioner either fill out the reports or even make a visit for him in his behalf to that troop.
Elwood, you're exactly right. Thank you very much. This shows that we're struggling as commissioners to do unit visits and to make meaningful contacts. And if you understand what Annalise talked about in working as a team, if you don't evaluate a unit and load comments in there for others to see, we can't really strengthen the unit itself. We can't strengthen the district itself. So it's important for us. We're the first step. We need to be doing the visits and the contacts and loading the information so that a unit leader can get it and improve, and so that other commissioners can see the issues and then address them for their own units. But when there's no evaluation, there's no way to pass that information and communicate as a team with administrative commissioners, with the district commissioners, with other unit commissioners, or with professionals, because there's nothing there. All right, so there are many reports available to help the commissioner in their role as either a unit, administrative, or roundtable commissioner. Administrative and roundtable commissioners can access the information in unit contacts and assessments. So it isn't just a unit commissioner that can go in and look at the assessments. Any commissioner can go in and look at the assessment. Here are some of the reports available for a commissioner to look at. If I'm a district commissioner, Dave Hatch, you're online, you know that you can go in and look at all the units that have been assigned a commissioner. You can look at those units that haven't been assigned a commissioner. And there are a lot of units in the council where the district commissioner has not gone in and assigned a commissioner. I have a report that shows roundtable attendance. And in the next session, you'll be able to see some of those reports for roundtable. Shows in progress contacts. Here's where the report comes up showing any unit that scored a 1 or 2 on an assessment. It shows you a unit health score. So I can go in and see for the units that have had a detailed assessment, I can see if their score is 3, 3, 5, 4, and then I can prioritize and say, well, here's a unit that's got a score of 3. Maybe I ought to look at them and see if we need to give them further help and assistance. So the reports are made for you as commissioners to be tools to help you improve the performance of a scouting unit. So the Commissioner Tools training course, they wanted me to talk about, it's 13 modules. You can go online and you can take them all, and they're very good. They're very comprehensive, and they really answer a lot of questions about Commissioner Tools. Again, as Annalise stressed, and I stressed, if you can't access Commissioner Tools, you're not registered as a commissioner. So a commissioner's core task is to make contacts with units over the course of a year. Unit contacts provide opportunities to coach, to mentor, and to improve. And I think if we understand that we're the bottom rung of that ladder, to help units improve, it gives a little more value to the responsibility we have as unit commissioners. So unit strengths and needs are captured in contacts, and we record those in commissioner tools to provide actionable data for all of us to see and to be able to share. So thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, Wendell, Elwood Porter, I have a question.
Go ahead, Elwood.
How often does a commissioner renew his registration renewed? Is it yearly? Or do I have to monitor that?
It's annually.
Okay.
It's annually, and it's not at the same time that the unit registers. Typically, it's in March and April.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Other questions?
So just a couple more comments, Wendell. Let's see, what do we got? Someone asked, Stuart asked if only 2 units to visit, or he currently only has 2 units to visit. Can he be assigned more units?
The answer is yes. Your district commissioner can assign you to more units. If you've got the time and you're available, yeah, having more units is a great blessing to the unit. I've looked at some of the assessments that have been done, and they're very good. They're very informative. That is valuable information. So the problem is when we're not even doing half of the units, we're just not getting the information out there for commissioners to see and unit leaders to see. So yes, Stuart, to your question.
Now with that, National recommends that you only have 3 units per unit commissioner, but as I commented in the chat, given our council's lean numbers of commissioners at the moment, again, if you have time and ability, I'm sure they would love to have more units get visited and get those contacts in to get the pulse of how the units are doing.
Should we be reporting contacts of the units that we're actually serving with? I serve on a committee, and I'm just wondering, should I be reporting those contacts so that there are contacts reported?
The answer is yes. If you're a committee member and a unit commissioner, and you're attending the meetings associated with that troop, that unit, and you have an evaluation you'd like to put in, absolutely, you can go in and record your comments and do it as a simplified assessment. I think a unit commissioner that's assigned to that unit should be doing the detailed assessment, but you can do a simple assessment very easily, no problem at all. I think, not to embarrass him, but Dave Hatch has loaded in a number of assessments because as he visits units, even though he's not the unit commissioner, he's the district commissioner, but as he visits units, he records the contact because he wants to provide the information and the feedback to that unit and to other units as to what he's seeing. So yes, you can do that. That's a very good question.
And as a roundtable commissioner as well, you have the ability to go put in those contacts, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you do.
Let me interject as well. A word of caution about having too many units as a unit commissioner. I have gotten into that problem before. You have to be very careful not to overload yourself. There's a lot of work involved. This is especially true when you have new units. That's an area that I kind of work in a lot, is working with new units. They require a much greater amount of care and a lot of involvement. And you can very easily overload yourself in an effort to make things much, much better in trying to get as many reports and as many units covered as can be. But be careful about overloading yourself. We also need to maintain the quality as well.
Thanks, Richard.
Also, again, with Richard's comment there, for new units, National recommends that you are assigned only that unit and that you stay with that unit for 3 years. Other commissioners, general commissioners that have those 3 units that National suggests, those can rotate every year. You're not statically assigned to that unit. Where again, with a new unit, they ask that you stay there for 3 years to make sure they get off on that right foot for that extended period of time.
But to give you an idea, at one point I had 2 regular units and a new unit. I was able to do that because I've been a commissioner for 30 years, been doing this for a lot of time, and had plenty of time to do that. And it was a lot of work.
David Bay, you've done a lot of assessments. What can you share with us about unit contacts?
The easiest thing that I know about them is I just try and arrange a time and I schedule it on my calendar, and I try and visit the unit meetings is where I do it. I haven't got into as many committee meetings or those sorts of things that I would like to, but I just try and schedule it, and then when I visit, I try and catch and make the records as quickly as possible. That's my key. But the biggest other thing is make sure you're registered as a commissioner so you can make the comments.
Thanks, David, very much.
My question is, do the unit commissioners have access to the scout book for the units that they're servicing?
No.
The answer is no.
Now, if the unit wanted to add you as a committee member or something, then yes, you could gain access to that. But that's a unit level choice.
Or if you're doing an assessment and you want the scoutmaster to show you, he can open it up so you can see it, but you don't have access.